What's up again, everybody? I wasn't even going to make this video, I was just taking notes, but I thought I should because I often write down ideas to help out with my life. Things that, by writing them down, they reinforce my ideas and ideals. And those are changing, ever changing. But there are certain principles that I've found really help in life, so I thought I'd share them. And they're pretty obvious ones. I wrote them down on my little list here, of course, so I won't forget. I'll try to make it quick because I could go on forever about this. Psychologically, we are all yearning for some, I should say, a better way of living. You know, we all know that we can do better as individuals and as a society. But there are certain things that hold us back. So I made a list of 10 of them. The first one is self-sabotage. We're all well aware of self-sabotage. You set yourself up because you tell yourself you can't do something. You have these plans in your mind of what you want to do, but you sabotage yourself by saying, I'm not good enough, I can't finish this on time, or it's too much of a risk. And one of the best ways to go about that is to look at everything as if you were barrier-free, no restrictions. If you had the choice to do something without fear of repercussion or damage, and I'm not talking about doing things that you know will cause damage, but taking risks in life that may help you in the end, go about it as if, you know, those risks aren't there sometimes, because the risks may be overblown, especially when you're approaching a new business or trying to start something, a new venture, whatever it might be. And honestly, I'm the king of self-sabotage. So that's why I think that one's first. It's because, you know, I found that this is the one that affects me the most, you know. As much as I know I'm a good person, I've done good things in my life, I'm a kind guy, you know, that's just not enough. There's always a little bit of doubt and, you know, insecurity, if you will. And the next one I have on the list here is fame and power are not success. And this one seems so obvious, but I've talked to so many people on YouTube who want to be famous YouTubers, or other people who just want to be rich, and many who just want to be famous and rich. And that's a multifaceted situation there, because being famous and being rich are desired for different reasons. Of course, we know that the wealth helps us to live better lives, we think, but being famous, that allows us to be appreciated. And if we feel underappreciated in our lives, or we feel like we haven't done enough, then sometimes we will seek fame or fortune to fill that gap. And the thing is, fame can disappear overnight, and a fortune can disappear in an hour. So we should really build up aspects of ourselves that cannot be taken away, things that cannot be stripped from us. And these are the most important you know, aspects of ourselves, you know. The bullshit where we can't be phased, we can't be, you know, you can't take away a person's will or a person's desire or a person's values. I mean, you can break them down, but, you know, that's different. So fame and power won't lead to success. And if we happen to get famous or rich, so be it. But seeking that out, I think, will only lead to travesty if we don't know the reason why we want it. Third one's pretty simple, ego complex. If we think that we're better than everybody else, we'll never amount to anything in our own lives, because it'll mean we're honestly looking at ourselves. There's two different types of ego complex. One of them is brought about by a true narcissism, where we really believe that we're the greatest. And the other is brought about by a strong insecurity, which often narcissism is a blanket for obscurity, to hide away our insecurity, to try to feel more in control than we really are. Kind of letting go of that and being able to kind of make light of yourself and not be so serious is important, in my opinion. The fourth one is comparing ourselves to others. And that should go without saying, but this is something that all of us do. We say, okay, I'm in this field, this is what I do, I'm a scientist in this particular field, and this was a great scientist in this field, and they did so much better than me. Or you may play on a sports team and think, oh, I'm not averaging what the other, you know, players are averaging. Comparing ourselves to others is a surefire way to fail. And that's because success is not measured by competing or how much better we do numerically. It's about how we feel within, and that really comes down to that mental transmutation of ideas, you know, and making the best of what we have. And that's a tricky one because we also want to yearn for more. So this is where I should say that comparing ourselves to others can be useful, but only if for the sake of saying, oh, I'd like to achieve that, I'm going to work for it, not just berating ourselves about it. The fifth one is name-calling and bullying, which we run into a lot of that online and elsewhere. And it's not going to stop. It's never going to end. When people feel threatened, or when they feel like they don't have enough information about a subject and you're arguing with them, for example, you'll get into the ad hominem attacks and calling other people names and making fun of them and finding some flaw in their reasoning, not because of the subject itself, but because they're a Democrat or they're a Republican or they're religious or atheist, you know. We really have a hard time, and that comes down to this insecurity about ourselves. So name-calling and bullying others especially, I really don't take kindly to abuse of any type. Mental abuse is pretty bad, but it can be escaped. Physical abuse as well can be escaped sometimes, but people who physically abuse others, harm others, even with words, I just find disgusting people, and really are some of the worst people. But I don't hate them for it, because I know all of these psychological issues are caused by our own problems in our own lives. So if somebody's a bully and we just beat the shit out of them, it's not going to solve anything. It's probably the reason why they're a bully in the first place. A few kind words placed in the right time can change a person's perspective, but you have to go about it properly. And many of us instantly feel like, retorting and responding in kind when a person attacks us or tries to bully us. If we're strong enough inside, we can let it go. That takes a while too, and it took me a long time. I got trolled online years ago, and I fell for it so many times, you know? Like, why am I arguing with this person? What relevance do they have on my life? Fuck them. So, the next one is blaming others for our problems, and that's a really big one. We don't just blame our parents, but we blame our friends, we blame all of our family, we blame our governors, we blame Congress, we blame the president, we blame everybody for everything else that is going wrong in our lives. You know, if we lose our job, then we might start saying, well, it's the immigrants causing me to lose my job. Or if somebody we know dies from a heroin overdose, all of a sudden all drug dealers should be executed. All of our bias is formed by our own experiences. So if we're not heavily vested in an idea, it's probably because we haven't experienced anything within that arena. And many of us try to pretend like we understand situations that we don't. I'm trying really hard to move past some of my own shortcomings in that arena, to realize that I don't know it all, and that my argument against something in another country that I don't even understand is really a moot argument. I have nothing to contribute if I don't really understand the full implications. And it's basically arguing from ignorance. And it's important, I think, that we try not to do that. But it's like, if you're not well read and you don't know a lot, if you're not emotionally intelligent and knowledgeable about the world, you don't have much to contribute to a conversation. And so people shut down. They start hearing scientific studies or quotes or numbers or research or polls that were done, and instantly they're just thrown out. Oh, well, all that's bullshit. Oh, all these people are lying. It's like, it's easy to think that you know better than a majority of people, but we're all stuck in here, and that's all you've got. And thank God I have a coherent brain where I can look through some of the crap, and also look through my own crap, if you will. So, blaming others only just comes back on ourselves. Gotta let go of that completely. Conspiracy realm is a huge one. People who have had loss of trust and loss of faith in people in general will often go to the conspiracy realm because it makes them feel more in control. It makes them feel like they know what's going on. It makes them feel like they have a group or an in-crowd that understands things. And most of all, it gives us the illusion that everything that happens for a particular reason, and that we understand that reason. To me, it's the ultimate form of arrogance. that, you know, within a day of any news coming out, oh, it's all fake news and it's all set up and everything's staged and it's all an illusion. Well, in my own personal life and the world I live in, I haven't seen any illusions in any of the accidents, fires, or explosions or anything that's happened in my neighborhoods, but because real things do happen. So that's a different subject, I guess, altogether. But the next one is being offended. Yeah, that's number 7. It's a choice to be offended, and in today's world, this one's showing up a lot more. This is why so many people just facepalm about these extreme liberal viewpoints where, you know, everybody needs to be protected, and a lot of people that are, you know, say oriented towards right-wing thinking, if you will, tend to just paint everybody who disagrees with their political ideology as this, you know, colored hair or liberal protester with a sign out there smashing windows and shit, when they are just a small minority of, you know, the people out there. Like, everybody wants to scapegoat and consolidate and generalize an entire group of people merely for the few who really are extremely offended by anything that happens to them. And a couple of years ago, I didn't really see this as well as I see it now. And after the issues with, like, Brett Weinstein, which he's a well-spoken individual, he was totally wronged. He was a professor at Evergreen College up here in Washington, and I believe he went to school on the day when only blacks are supposed to go to school. It's the white people stay home day, basically. Yeah, this is happening in this world right now in my state. Seems like you've gone so extremely liberal that all of a sudden we can have a reverse racism, which I just cringed when I heard about it. It was a day when they said, you know, only black people go to college. It was supposed to be some sort of a celebration of black culture, but I thought, you know how it goes when white people do that. You know, it's just not justified. Anyway, Brett went to school anyway to teach, and he got harassed by all the students. And I thought, you know, this sensitivity that's coming from this I have the right to be offended, and because I'm offended, I'm going to just scream and rant at you, and you should be punished. And, you know, people have lost their careers and their, you know, lives over these, you know, small little things that are blown out of proportion. Anyway, being offended is a choice. I do believe people should use their words, choose their words carefully, which is something I've always done. Most tried to do. But being offended over things that we take the wrong way is something that really has to stop. You will be offended if you choose to be offended. And, you know, words are just words. That's all I can say about that. The next one is insecurity. Insecurity holds us back big time. And that goes kind of along the lines of self-sabotage, and I've mentioned insecurity several times, but it deserves a number all its own. It's something that we have to realize that everyone around us has, that we're not the only one who's insecure, that other people who seem to be all proud and great, you know, and loving themselves and loving what they've done, sometimes they do. But true self-love isn't something that you reflect through telling people you love yourself or being selfish in that way, but rather it just comes out in who you are, I guess. If you're an insecure person, it's really a turnoff, especially when we fall into victimhood. It's almost as bad as the arrogant prick, you know, who thinks he's just the shit, the greatest dude, you know, this 20-year-old guy walking around thinking he's tough, wants to fight everybody. You know, I knew so many guys like that, and they're just total douchebags. I mean, guys who go out looking for fights are douchebags to the ultimate, but they're usually out there looking for fights because they're insecure. And I guess today I should address the idea that, you know, masculinity is looked at as toxic now, and that's something that I just find bullshit. You know, I think that I grew up in this era of embrace your feminine side, and I always have. I'm not shy about, you know, I'm not a manly man. I'm just a man who does what I do. But we shouldn't have to identify with, oh, well, I can't be too tough or act too too tough. So men are becoming insecure because they're told that they should be insecure. It's a crazy, you know, I don't want to get into that whole aspect of it, because this whole male-female thing, and, you know, feminism and the men's rights movement and all this, it's just double facepalm. We are people. We are male. We are female. We are different. And then there's male females and he, she's and whatever. It doesn't matter. People have to just let it go. Let people be people and stop being offended over stupid shit and worrying about whether or not a man acts like a man or not. A man should not be punished for feeling manly. Like this Gillette commercial that everybody's talking about, I just didn't even want to watch it, and then it came up in this Vice article. And I watched it, and I was just like, oh my God, talk about virtue signaling. You know, basically, I tried to look at it fairly, and I looked at the commercial as just basically making all men look like idiots. But this has been happening for a long time now. They've been slowly doing this in television and shows, just making guys just look like oafs. The thing is, it's really hard to disagree with the fact, because I know so many guys who are really like that. But I'm not. So I get thrown into the lump, you know. I'm generalized, I'm stereotyped as the male. This whole thing about the Gillette commercial with, you know, there's men out there who are so bothered by the commercial, they're uploading reaction videos of themselves. One guy like took a bowling ball and put a baseball bat in it, and he bashed his Gillette razors on this table, and all I could say was, yeah, that's genius. I mean, destroy something that you already spent money on and gave it to the company to what, make an impression because you don't like a commercial. Fine, that's fine. We vote with our dollars, but you've already spent your dollars. It's kind of like what happened with everybody burning their frickin' Nikes after the Nike thing. But the point is that people are so sensitive because they're sick of being told what to do. And I'm trying to understand that side of it. Because I agree, men shouldn't be jerks and grab women and whistle at women. Of course not. But does it mean that a man can't say, wow, you're hot, you're beautiful? That's where it's come to. Men are afraid to even talk to women now. It might be, in that commercial they showed, you know, a guy, a businessman touch a woman's shoulder, and that was supposed to be something that's not allowed, you know. I get it. I do get it. I understand. But we're blowing this out of proportion, putting it on a razor commercial. I gotta say, if you want to be a real manly man, don't fucking shave. I just gotta say it, you know. It's like, why would you shave your beard? You want to be a man, be a man. But it's I'm joking, of course. Just the whole thing is really just ludicrous. The last two I have, one is buying nice things, and the other one is buying into commercialism, and they're very similar entwined, so I'll just throw them into one here. Thinking that nice things are going to make us happy kind of comes up with the fame and power idea, but they don't. You just want more stuff. Stuff never makes us happy. So buying a fancy car just to show the car off, or spending extra on gold chains and crap like that, I'm just blown away with the shit that people waste their money on. They think, oh, I got a raise, I'm making a little more. Oh, I might as well just buy something nicer, you know, buy newer and nicer things. I know people who have much less money in past years than I did, and they spent 10 times more money. And they wonder why and then when I go out in the summer, I go out and I go to concerts, I go to events, we go out and travel, go camping, and people are like, oh, well, I wish I could take time off. Oh man, yeah, I wish I could go out and do that. It's like, yeah, you could if you didn't buy a $50,000 car, you idiot. But what do? You know? I learned that experiences are what we should look for in life. Experiences break up our illusion of time. Time is a construct that we use to define the passing of events. That's all it is. Time is just passing of events. There's no real time. But the way our brains perceive time does change. It's been shown over and over, especially when you say, see your life flash before your eyes in an accident. The mind truly slows down. This is why people remember every single detail of an accident. Clearly, it's because your brain slows down, starts firing all at once, and it processes every memory. Well, this can go the opposite way. If your mind isn't used, and you just go along with your mundane, boring life, and you never do anything different, and you never go out and you never experience anything, every day seems to blend together. Every year blends together. And pretty soon you look back and say, what have I done? I have this stuff, but I don't remember any pleasure from it. But you'll always remember those experiences and the pleasure you had with your friends at concerts, out in the woods, doing something great. So don't buy nice things, buy nice experiences. And as for the commercialism part, I think we all know damn well we are constantly marketed to. There's advertisements everywhere. It's in every movie we watch, every show we watch. Every goddamn YouTube video is plugging some product, some stupid toothbrush or you know, audiobooks or something, and you can just see it in the people's faces in these videos and hear it in their voice. Oh, this is the greatest toothbrush I've ever used. It's the best toothbrush ever. Oh wow, it's so much better than my other toothbrush. They have to do it because they bought into the commercial aspect. It's the reason why a couple years back, you know, after I've been on YouTube like 6 years, I thought maybe I'll start an AdSense account and try to make some ad revenue. That lasted about a day. And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be in with any company. I don't want anybody paying me money to advertise their bullshit. And I don't want commercials put on my videos that I might not agree with or relate to. And so I've just kept it as this. I have the Patreon account I started for people who wanted to donate. But besides that, it's like, I'm not interested in advertising. And I'm not interested in it because I've got so much bullshit through the past that I've had to put up with on every billboard, the back of every car, every light pole, every single thing is just covered with ads. And even the ones we don't see, the ones that subconsciously show up, like somebody eating Doritos in a movie, you know, it's hard. And today it's become even worse. Because now we have what they call influencer marketing, which a lot of people don't even know exists. And it's just the same thing as celebrity endorsements, but it's just random people online. And the thing is, you can't tell who really is just sitting there drinking a Coke while they're making a video and who got paid, you know, $100,000 to drink that Coke making a video. So the only way around it is for us to go back to not buying things that we don't need. I know when I've bought into, you know, been sold to, or, you know, I can tell when I'm being personally marketed to, and unless I have an interest in the product, I'm not going to buy it. So that helps us to save money, so we can have more experiences, so we can enjoy our lives more, so we can stop blaming others, make better connections, and avoid the self-sabotage that we all despise. Hope that helped somebody somewhere, and I wish you all a wonderful day. Take care.